Hey everybody, this is Scott Aaron back with another live interview. So excited for today. My good buddy Jesse Paul Smith is here with me. Just an incredible story, an incredible human being. And as everyone jumps on, wherever you're streaming in from, whether you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, please say hi to myself and Jesse. Let us know where you're coming in from. Tag some people that you feel need to see this. Share this during and after to spread the word. And, for any artist that is out there, entertainer, choreographer, you will really love this interview. So before I take up any more time, Jesse, number one, thank you so much for being here today. But number two, tell the audience that is not familiar with you who you are and what it is that you do.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing me on. This is a lot of fun. So a little bit of about who I am. I host a online dance competition called the Worldwide Dance Challenge that got birthed out of the craziness that we're going on right now, which also has led to super excited about a summit that we're developing called Creating Your Big Break. Ultimately, my heart is to help performers be able to realize that there's not just one way that you got to make it. I'm helping performers create their own big breaks so they don't have to wait for somebody to give them this break that's going to set their career on fire. Because of the way that things are going nowadays, you really don't need somebody to, give you your platform. You can go create your own. You can go, grab an audience, impact an audience, monetize that audience, and ultimately going that route can actually land you the gigs of your dreams. And the thing that changes about that though is that you're not knocking on their door, now they come knocking on yours, and that totally changes the game for you.
So a couple things before we dive into all of that, and I'm curious about this. Number one, how did you get into dance? How did you get into, because again, we all have rhythm inside of us, and there's some people that just do it for fun, but you actually, and I'm going to put this in air quotes, you live the dream. You went from blistery, cold, snowy Wisconsin and to get away from the shoveling, which you're back doing now, but
Yeah.
and then you moved to obviously the entertainment pinnacle, which is California. So how did you get into dance, and what inevitably led you to going out west?
Yeah, so I've been a dreamer since, I could walk. Performing on stages since I was 3. My first performance was me singing the books of the Bible on stage at church. That set me on literally a little citywide church tour. And ever since then, I've just been addicted to the stage. I love performing. And so I was always that dreamer. I was always that kid that was wanting to do something significant with my life. And I saw significance as being on the big screen. And so, was in a rock band that had several, record auditions. And so we would tour all over the place and do that. And I grew up in a Christian family though. So like the dancing thing wasn't something that I grew up doing. It was something that I got introduced to, actually doing martial art tournaments all around the country. We'd go to these big national tournaments, and after the tournament, they'd have an after party. And these big, martial art groups like Jungle Care or Paul Mitchell, they would always have a bunch of kids that were breakdancing and doing this form of dance that I wasn't really familiar with, but I was always intrigued by it. And then when I turned 20 years old, it was just like, I stumbled into a couple of guys that knew how to do some of this stuff, and I got hooked. I found myself dancing, every waking hour. A lot of people were going to the clubs because they wanted to party and stuff. I wasn't a drinker, But going to the clubs where I was from, there was no cover charge, but there was a dance floor and there was a DJ. And so for me, it was free studio space. I would practice every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And because I didn't drink, I could get up early for work the next morning and I was good. But when I couldn't go to the club and practice, I would literally go to my local Walmart here and dance from 10 p.m. until 1 a.m. In the cosmetics section because the radio was playing above. That was before iPods, right? The radio was playing above me, and they had this awesome floor that gave me the ability to move. And the management knew that I wasn't getting in any trouble, so they let me do what I was doing. And so I just would practice, and I would go to Minneapolis and battle. And then I heard about this audition down in Florida that I went down to, and there was 1,500 dancers. And I got top 10 out of 1,500. I got to dance on stage in front of 5,000 people. And, the cool thing was I got scouted by all these different talent agencies. And so I made the decision 30 days later, out to Cali we go. And that's how I did it.
It's really interesting because the one thing that's coming through for me, and, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that watch these interviews, is that number one, it didn't happen overnight. Number two, it actually happened later in life. But, people, when they think, oh, he's a dancer, he's a choreographer, he's doing this, he must have been dancing since he was 2 or 3 years old. You actually got into it when you were already an adult, 20 years old. But you also carved out any waking time or opportunity that you had to practice. Not only going to these battles, but going to the clubs, but dancing in the cosmetic section in Walmart, where you just seized the opportunity. And I think that that's so important for people to hear, because there's so many people that are watching this now and on the replay that, they're struggling in their business and they want things to happen like that, and they don't. Yep. We talk about the compounded effect and how things have to happen over time. Before we get into the whole California move, what, you said 30 days later, you got top 10, you were being scouted. What was that the ultimate moment, or that 30 days, between you getting top 10, dancing in front of 5,000 people, to then saying, you know what, I got to go out to California? What was that mindset shift that you made, that you said, you know what, I'm not going to make a hobby of this. I'm actually going to go make it happen, and I need to go to California. Take the audience through a little bit about how that transition actually happened.
Well, I'm going to take you through how the transition happened, and I'm going to take you through the transition of why that was the wrong way to make the decision. Okay. So what happened was, I think ultimately as performers, we're always looking for other people's affirmations. We're looking to be validated by other people. And I think what happened for me was I wanted somebody to validate that I was good enough. Well, I went there and, I worked my butt off at that audition. First of all, I wasn't a studio kid, and one of the choreographer that I was actually doing the piece for the audition worked with Michael Jackson. He had done some different things with Michael Jackson. So this wasn't like your 1-2 step audition. I walked in there and really quickly realized I was in over my head. You basically had 45 minutes to learn the choreography, and then the next day you performed it in front of the judges. Well, we were at this huge 5-star resort down in Orlando, Florida. It was a beautiful place. It was the nicest place I had ever been because I came from a family that didn't make money. So our idea of staying in a hotel was, the Super 8, $60 a night. I'm at this hotel that's got, waterfalls coming off of the pool into a hot tub, like just this crazy stuff. I wanted to participate in all the fun that everybody was having, but I realized quickly that I was in over my head and I needed to make two choices. Was I going to take the fun now and miss out on really what I wanted, or would I be willing to sacrifice the fun now, put in the work so that I could get where I wanted to go? And I literally spent 10 hours in the corner of a hotel going over the music and working on the steps to the point where my knees hurt so bad I couldn't dance anymore. So that way, when I woke up the next morning, the choreography was so deep inside of me that I could do it, because I wasn't going to get it any other way. So, but that I know when I was dancing, I was constantly thinking, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And so when I went there and auditioned, and I got top 10, and I got all these scouts that said I was good enough, it was the validation I needed to take the step forward. But here's where I went wrong. Because I needed validation not from my passion, not from, I know this is the direction I want to go. I needed validation from other people that when I got there and I heard 100 no's, I heard 100 no's before I got my first yes. It destroyed me as a human being, because I was putting my self-worth in other people's validation. And what I've learned is that when people are telling you no, they're not telling you you're not good enough. More than half the time, they're telling you no, not now. No, not this part. It doesn't mean you're not good enough, but because I didn't have the mindset, because I didn't have the understanding of any of that, and I went off of the validation of other people, even though I did dance with, I got a chance to dance with Justin Timberlake. I got to dance with Rihanna, Channing Tatum, all the step up people. I had a chance to do that, but the damage had been done so deep inside of my soul and so deep inside of my mental game that I couldn't push through all of that, and it ultimately destroyed me.
So let's talk about that, because when people hear that, you danced with Channing Tatum and you danced for Rihanna and you danced for Justin Timberlake, the average person would say, well, Jesse, you made it. You did it. You were dancing for some of the top people in the entertainment industry, but yet it still wasn't satisfying. And something that you and I, when we first connected a few weeks ago, that we really connected on was personal development. And we talked about John Maxwell because you ended up going through some leadership courses that he runs. So, number one, how did you get into the personal development sector? Because when you start kind of digging into that side of someone, it takes things to another level. But number two, what was it like dancing for Rihanna, dancing with Channing Tatum, dancing for Justin Timberlake, and still not feeling worthy enough?
I mean, it's ultimately what led me to depression, because you think that the achievement of the dream is really what's going to be fulfilling. And there's a quote that Jim Rohn said that he learned from his mentor that Jim Rohn's goal was to earn $1 million, and what Jim Rohn's mentor told him is, listen, it's not about earning the $1 million. It's who you become in the process of earning that $1 million. I didn't understand that. And I was so busy looking out that I ignored within. And that was the piece that I was missing. I was missing becoming the best version of me so that I could be content. It's okay with pushing forward and wanting to be more, do more, and have more. We're creative beings, and we're always seeking, as my mentor Paul Martinelli said, seeking fuller expansion and fuller expression. You're never going to stop wanting to become a different version of you, because we're made to do that. But there is this concept of being content where you're at and realizing that even in the midst of me going higher, I'm grateful for where I am. And I never had that. Because the gigs that I was doing were I could always say it was just a music video here. Oh, it's just a MySpace commercial. Oh, it's just a Pepsi commercial. It's not the ultimate. And ultimately what you're going to realize is that there's never the ultimate, because you never get to the point where you're fully satisfied with where you're at, because you're always wanting to become more, do more, and have more. So, it was maddening to me. I'm like, why? How? I mean, I got people calling me up and saying, man, it's so cool to see you do this. And did I just see you on MTV? Did I just see you, in a Pepsi commercial? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, man, that's got to be amazing. And I'm like, yeah, not really. I'm sleeping till 2:30, getting up in the morning or getting up in the afternoon, having a bowl of ramen noodles, and then going back to bed because I'm depressed. I'm not going to auditions because I feel worthless. And that's ultimately, what kicked my butt. You asked me the question about personal growth and development. See, the thing of it is that I learned this, is that I failed, quote unquote, failed in that industry. 2006, I come back and my tail between my legs and completely get my butt handed to me, right? But I still have this passion. I still have this dream. So I travel all around the world and I speak and do high school assemblies and, do different youth events and stuff like that. And it's having fun. But again, that's not enough, right? Because I'm wanting more. I'm seeking more. So I'm still never satisfied. 2013, I get a record deal. I think, man, this is it. This is it. And all of a sudden, I'm still realizing, but there's more. I still want more. Well, 2013, $170,000 in debt, a bad record deal, and facing bankruptcy. I'm still that miserable kid wanting to figure out this whole dream thing. And it wasn't until I really started pouring into personal growth and development, it wasn't until I really started to realize that what Wayne Dyer says is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I realized that the problem was not my opportunities. It wasn't that I wasn't getting the big enough gigs. It wasn't that I wasn't making a big enough splash. It was that I didn't have the mindset to be able to see the landscape properly. And so I dove headfirst into personal growth and development. And it was at that time that I started scaling businesses, that I started seeing results come out of the woodwork. I went from $170,000 in debt to facing bankruptcy to making six figures and completely out of debt in 9 months by just diving in to personal growth and development. Joining the John Maxwell team was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, because I went completely down into this, learning about who I was, whose I was, and how valuable I was as a human being, not because of my accomplishments, just because I was a human being, that I was valuable.
It's such an interesting thing to think about, because entrepreneurship is such a roller coaster ride. It's filled with so many ups and downs that we can completely let our mindset get away from us, and we go down the wrong rabbit hole where we don't want to be. And I think having the mental fortitude to keep going, having the self-awareness that is what I'm saying to myself a story? Is this real? Am I making this up? Is it my self-worth showing back up again? And when you really hone in on becoming the best version of yourself, it will always allow you to progress forward each and every day. And I know there's so many people that are watching this live and maybe on the replay that, as you were sharing your story, they could resonate with it, because they may be feeling the same way. And again, like always attracts like. And what I know is that when you're more in tune with the thoughts that run between the 6 inches between your ears, you start understanding what should be done to be improved. So what's your message to that person that's listening to this or watching this that is struggling with the mindset portion? They want to achieve great things. They want to have their version of success, but their mindset is standing in their way. What's your advice to that person on what they can do to finally start having the needle move forward?
A mentor of mine told me one time when I asked a very similar question. And I was asking, really the importance of personal growth development, the importance of, getting our head right. And he told me two things. He said, first of all, you will never outpace your mindset. You'll never outgrow what you really believe about yourself. And you see people all the time, they're wanting to maybe make six figures a year doing something, right? But they don't believe that they don't believe they're capable. They don't believe they're worthy of it. And they might see results for a while, but our subconscious has a way of sabotaging us, right? Our mind has a way of sabotaging ourselves because, not our subconscious, our conscious, because we will never outperform what we believe we're worth. So when you start outperforming your belief system, your mind is going to automatically start telling you, wait a second, this isn't what you're capable of. You're really not going to be able to sustain this. And inevitably you come crashing down. And so he was really trying to help me understand, Jesse, you're never going to see outward results that your inward results don't match up with. He says, if you want to move the needle on your income, you want to move the needle on your business, you want to move the needle on your platform, you first need to start with moving the needle in on yourself. He says, because unless you enjoy being on this rat race, unless you enjoy making money here for a little bit and then come crashing down, having great relationships for a minute and come crashing down, maybe getting a taste of your dream for a minute and have it come crashing down, unless you really enjoy that ups and downs, you really need to first understand that you've got to start working on yourself. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be scary. There's some things that I've had to, and I'm still working on myself. We're always a work in progress. There's nobody that's ever arrived. John Maxwell will tell you, he's arguably one of the most, successful authorities in leadership and personal growth and development, right? And he'll tell you that he's always working hard on becoming the better version of himself. In fact, if you ask John if he's got goals, he's not a goal setter. He'll actually tell you that he is more about personal growth than he is about goal setting. His goal is, am I better today than I was yesterday? And so, I'm going to tell you, you have a dream that's been put inside of you. You have a passion that's been put inside of you. You even have a goal or a wildly outrageous vision for a reason. That's not there by accident. And yes, you need to learn different tangible skill sets that are going to help you get there. But I'm going to tell you that you've been given all of the resources that you need to accomplish that goal. And those resources are obtained by how you look at the landscape. So it all starts here. And when you can start realizing that as I start to change the way I look at my world, as I start to change the way I look at myself, if I start to change the way that I look at the opportunities around me, my landscape changes and ultimately then also does my results. The dance show that we have, the summit that I have that's being built right now, the speakers that are on it right now, which, Scott's going to be speaking on, but the results that we're getting is not because I'm anybody special. If you take a look at, I'm a transparent person. I believe in transparency. You might go to my Instagram and be like, he's not a big deal. He's got 1,700 people that follow him on Instagram. I'm not active there, right? I'm not pouring my heart and soul into that. I'm pouring my heart and soul into this show, into the summit, into the relationships. And because of that, it's opening doors in areas that I would have never imagined. But it's interesting because as I started to really dive into this personal growth and development stuff, I started to get, this thought in my head of what maybe the entertainment business, maybe I'm not out yet. Maybe I'm still supposed to be in the entertainment business, but maybe I was looking at how I was going to be in the entertainment business wrong. My mentor, Paul Martinelli, will say this over and over again, and I've learned this to be so true. We will often get married to the plan instead of the goal. We'll think of the only way I want to have that dream is if it goes this way, and I'm going to tell you more often than not, it's not going to go the way that you thought it was. And when we realize that the plan is there to only serve the dream, and you walk around with an open hand, you'll be amazed at what will open. I thought that my goal or my my path to become who I wanted to be in the entertainment business was by becoming the star. Well, I didn't realize I wasn't a dancer. That's not who I was. That was what I did. We are human beings first with a skill set. So I was a dancer, and I have this passion to invest in other people. I have this passion to actually see other people's dreams come to life. And I was not realizing that was a gifting, a skill set for me to help me actually accomplish what I wanted to do. And now I'm almost 40 years old. I'm technically washed up in the entertainment industry, but I have the biggest opportunities set before me right now than I ever did when I was younger. Because I finally have the mindset that gives me the ability to see the landscape differently. And now I'm working with some of the people that I wished and dreamed about when I was in the entertainment business. But because I was able to see the landscape different, I'm working with them, but in a different capacity. But I'll tell you what, the dream hasn't changed.
Yeah, opportunities are always there for us, and it's about seizing the moment. And not having any preconceived expectation or notion of where I should be or what I should accomplish or how I need to accomplish it. And I think you are an absolute prime example of that. So before we start to wind down, tell us a little bit about the summit and the community that you're currently building. And again, I was so grateful to be a part of it, and I'm so excited for it. It's really going to be a game changer in the space that you're in. So how did it come about, and where can people go to find out more about it?
Yeah, so the summit's called Creating Your Big Break. The tagline is, stop waiting for somebody to give you your big break. Go out and create your own. With the show that we have created, and this is the backdrop for it, that's why I keep pointing at it. But for the show that we created for this, one of the things that opened up to me, or a reality that I had, was that a lot of these dancers, and as I've done my research, performers, they're really good at performing. They're great at, developing music. They're great at, singing. They're great at performing. They're great at dancing. They're great at comedy, all these things. But because the entertainment has conditioned us, the entertainment business has conditioned us that the road to success is, build up your craft, which is obviously important, but then you're going to want to get somebody that discovers you. You want to get somebody, an agency, a management team, some sort of talent scout that's going to find you and discover you, and then they're going to bring you to an audition that is going to give you your big break. And that has been the model for so many years. But the landscape has changed so much. And so what a lot of these performers don't understand, you take a look at Disney, who just laid off 28,000 of their cast members, and most of them were performers, right? And you've got all these the entertainment industry was turned upside down like every other industry. Auditions are at 40% of what they used to be because the entertainment industry is still trying to figure out how to operate, right? But the landscape has changed so much. You no longer need representation. You no longer need to go to auditions in order to really land a big gig. There's so many different ways. And first and foremost, you can now create your own gigs. And so what I started to realize is that the entertainment business, the performers really needed to learn how to create their own stage, how they can, develop an audience, how they can serve that audience so they can monetize that audience and scale that audience. Because right now in the land that we live in, I'll argue that is a more powerful play than to continue to go to auditions. You can go to auditions. I'm not saying skip that route. I'm saying and. Because what I'm learning is that the people that have understood this, the people that have started to build their own stage, they're now landing the dream gigs that they always wanted. But the interesting thing is that they're not going to the auditions to get it. Now they have people coming and knocking on their door, offering them the gigs, which is a better play for the performers anyways, because now they're a value instead of just another number at the audition. And so this Creating Your Big Break Summit is going to be happening January 20th through the 24th. And we're going to literally be giving the performers, I brought in amazing speakers, top name speakers, for this, and they're everybody from the entertainment business to the business building sector, and they're going to give everybody the tips and the tools, the mindset they need to go from no stage at all, no audience at all, to understanding how they can build their own platform, how they can get an audience around that platform so that they can serve them with their passion that they have, and ultimately monetize that audience and scale that audience so that they can have the big break they've always been looking for.
I love that. So again, I'm going to obviously follow this up with the information, but where can people go to find out about the summit, learn about it, and get ready for when it does launch in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so the summit is going up here shortly. It's going to be creating your big break, summit.com. It's not up yet, but you're going to be seeing information roll out for that in the next couple weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, or you follow me on LinkedIn, or TikTok, or anywhere, we'll be posting on it. And again, it's just Jesse Paul Smith, but you can find out more about it there when we launch. But I'm super excited. It's going to be a game changer.
Well, I'm super excited for it and to be a part of it. So thank you again. And Jesse, final question before we sign off. What does success truly mean to you?
Success, man, that I think that answer changes constantly, but I'm starting to define success as being able to live out your authentic self so that you can be what you're passionate about, do what you're passionate about, serve who you're passionate about serving, and be passionate about the life that you're living. All of that in one lump sum. And it's not defined by money. It's not defined by accolades. It's not defined by your resume. It's defined by the peace that you have inside of yourself while doing it.
Love that answer and could not agree more. We all bring our own definition of success to the forefront and to the table. And when you live with intention, when you live with genuine care and concern, success will then soon follow. So, Jesse, thank you again for being here today. Super stoked to continue networking and connecting with you and developing our friendship, but also super grateful to be a part of the summit. I know it's going to be a home run, and just grateful to have that opportunity. So thank you again so much for being here.
Man, thanks for having me. This was an absolute blast.
Awesome. So everyone, again, check out later on down the line. We're going to be releasing some details about the summit. So I hope you enjoyed today's interview. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.